Well, I think we no, that's just it. People Okay, okay.
So we will get them before to start this before I start. No, don't worry, don't worry. I need to, once I start and I hand over to the chairman, I will do editing and the same. Are you sending it separately? Because I'm sending it directly to you. It's not flowing through different things. I want to send it, but if you want that one now, I will send to your own WhatsApp. That's what I'm saying now. I said, if you want that one separately, I will send it on your WhatsApp now. But the reason I didn't send it because it's the same assignment. So I wanted to give you the two at once. Okay, I'm sending now. I'm sending now. Okay. That's the only one. That is the only one. Just how many you want it? You need my laptop. Yeah. Yeah,
When you are capturing, once in a while, I set it so I can take 3 of them.
Okay.
Then if one of them is okay, you simply do this. You need to go to the person. If let's say for instance another person, you have to flex this thing so that you can move. That is going to panic.
Doesn't want to move.
Yes, when you're trying to turn it back, so it doesn't. So sometimes when you zoom in, okay, people sitting there, you don't need to turn it. Can you see how I capture this man now?
Yeah.
Every other thing in the background is doing
You
like
just focus on.
yes.
So I mean, if someone is talking here, I don't have to change it.
Before you turn like this, if you are zooming, you need to turn. You zoom out first. You turn out first.
Okay.
Before you turn. And it's not gentle. Your turn is usually very. That means you have to be calculative so that you can catch the action.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the moment you start moving, I'll quickly move so that you can move.
Yeah, so if someone is here, talking here, do I need to capture another person here again, or just person? Okay. Then if person finishes talking,
The program
I'll
is
just
not
start talking again.
Yes. When the person is talking, now,
I'll catch put that in here. Then if another person moves back, I take it back. So what do I
mostly you leave it to
capture?
the
Except if someone is talking. Except if someone is talking.
Just good morning, my
Don't follow me. I'm following you. You are following me. Are you my spy?
Welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning now, ladies and gentlemen. So please speak properly in front so that those that come late, they will know that they came late. So let me start this morning by inviting people to the our normal. It's not high table, and that's what I'm struggling to call it. Morning. You know this is not high table, right? No high table. Okay, but it's Okay. So the chairman of this morning session is a well-known person in the academia. That is, if you are inquisitive and you want to know. You know, these days there's no hiding place. You don't need to tell people that you are an academic or not. We know people by internet. You know that thing, whoever brought that internet shit, we should be commending the person every day. Because in those days, we used to depend on what people write about themselves in their CV to know who they are. But these days, if you like write anything, they just go to the internet and put your name there, then we will know who you are. So I think it has also helped to humble a lot of us so that you calm down. Like me now, if I want to talk where there is Professor Taudi, I will calm down small. And some people too, when they want to talk where I am, they also calm down small. So that's how we calm down for ourselves. Across the globe, it's not about, it's not Nigeria, and that's the beauty of academics. It's not a Nigerian issue, it's not an African issue. It's world, it's international. We call it international metrics of assessment for academics or intellectuals. That's how we know. Yesterday, Professor Tomori was giving us he told us an experience he had when he was the vice chancellor. He was trying to recruit a sound academic as a lecturer in Redeemers University, and a lot of professors were against him. That he cannot appoint that person as a lecturer. So what Professor Tomori did was to bring the DV of all his professors and the new person he wanted to appoint. And at Senate meeting, he distributed all the CVs and said, please look at all the CVs of my professors here and this person that we want to appoint as professor. He said after 5 minutes, he said, having looked at these CVs, what is your opinion? Should we appoint him or not? He said, all of them say, appoint. He said, that's how he got Professor Happy today, who is the eye of that university, into that university. So you see, that kind of thing is sweet to hear, because we also, and the issue of this attitude is not just about us, so it happens everywhere in the world, even in developed countries. So let nobody attribute it to us. It's just that we do it and attribute it to witches and witchcraft. But we are, some of us are actually traditional witches and witchcraft by DNA. It's not by whatever. So this morning I have the pleasure, therefore, to welcome to this part of this meeting, the chairman of this session, Professor Sunday Akaudi of the Federal University of Lokoja. His profile is in our brochure already. Read it. Those of you who are young, okay, those of you who are younger, make sure you connect with him before he leaves here. If you are waiting for him to come and say, how are you now? How are you? He will not do it. It doesn't go like that. You have to deliberately step up. When I teach mentorship in my university, where I teach, I tell the students, mentorship, mentee mentorship is a deliberate project that you have to take up. And you, the prospective mentee, must reach out. Okay, it's like marketing. You go for what you want. If you are sitting down thinking that this man, the one that will come and look for you, will look for you. Okay, so reach out for him. One of the benefits of attending conferences like this is networking. If you don't network as a scientist, you are just a local champion remaining in your field and you won't get anywhere. So connect with him. Because at conferences too, those that you hardly will have opportunity to meet, you meet them and you connect with them. Because on the road, good afternoon, sir, it's already gone, you won't stand. But at this conference, we all assume the same level. Conference is a leveler for us scientists. Okay? Now, I have taken selfie with video and I'm enlarging it and putting it in my office. Ordinarily, where do you think I would have met him? You won't meet him now. For those of you gossiping me in your mind, it is because you don't have the opportunity. I got it and I used my own. So, Chairman, thank you for honoring us with this visit. Let me also invite to this place my friend. I admire him a lot. He's one of the greatest minds that we have in pharmacy in Nigeria. And that's why I told the VP yesterday, and all of you were here, that if we don't do it, it's our problem. It's not because we cannot do it, because we have the human capital to do it. We have the knowledge, we have the skill, the infrastructure in terms of mind is already there. So if we are unable to harness this in order to get this done, then it is because we are a bunch of failures. We should not blame anyone. Okay? So it's my pleasure to announce the presence at this meeting of Ray Ozolwa. Prof, you are welcome. Let me cough very well. And put my suit very well. You know, yesterday while I was giving the vote of thanks, I also told everyone, including our VP, that I felt highly fulfilled, and that all the unreachable intellectuals that were in the hall, that these were people that have one-on-one contact with before they came here. One-on-one. And that some of them, as expected, have huge engagements. Some of them have tickets already bought, but they have to shift because some of them said it here yesterday, they embarrassed me by saying it because if they didn't come, I will quarrel them. They came to embarrass me, but the truth is, they know that I don't quarrel. I only complain. So, but as I'm talking to you, like I said yesterday, present in this hall, and who is also one of our presenters, is a man, a very potent, very potent intellectual. One of the people in Nigeria who became a professor at a very young age, less than 40 years. People that I copied to become professor too. Yes. And then even as vice chancellor, I don't call them vice chancellor, I call them my brother, my friends. So if he didn't come, maybe he will be in trouble, even though he's busy. But here present is an international person, award winner in Orange. It's the fellow of the Academy of Science. Yeah, and he's seated here, the current vice chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka Professor Charles. Kindly come to those of you who don't know, this is Professor Kimani, the VP of UDP. Stop keeping me in your mind, because not many of you will have opportunity to invite a VC. Not many will have opportunity and the ability to invite a professor. Because you know me and I'm playing with you does not mean that you can play with the person. So now let me also invite now the third person to sit here. And he's an academic pontiff. Yes, because when he speaks, the language, the statement, and what he says itself is authority. It can be referenced. You know, when you give us reference, we say, what's your source? Go and bring the journal. This one, just say that it is person that says so, and it's taken. So may I invite to this side of the table too, our academic father, the chief scientific officer for this conference, Professor Tomori. Welcome, sir. Yes, sir. So before I hand over the mic to the chairman, because once I give him mic now, I no longer have authority. So before I give him his mic, let me welcome, introduce, no, not introduce, so I'm introducing this person. Because I'm not the first person that says I'm not qualified to lose the strap of somebody's standard. I'm not the first person. So I'm not ashamed of it. But since I'm holding microphone, I can't do it. Therefore, let me announce the present in this hall. The only person that can direct that anybody who is a staff of NIPRI here should go on suspension. Whether rightly or wrongly, you first go on suspension, your salary will stop first. Even if you will be right later, but you will stop first. And there's only one person that has that authority in this hall, and he's seated here. Therefore, we will not be here for that reason. Dr. Jonathan is here and is the chairman of board of NIPRI. Welcome, sir. Sir, we are. So thank you, my chairman. Over to you, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Professor Nege, for that beautiful introduction. He gave me a sanitizer, and I want to test how it works. With this, I'm safe to remove my mask. Thank you again, Professor Nege, for that beautiful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I am Professor Sonia Tawuji, Federal University Lokoja, COVID-19 survivor. Between February and January, and March, I was at the Gogalada Association Center. 10 days on oxygen. I had actually gone to the other side. But God says it's not yet time yet that I must be around to perform this duty. Yes. And to let people know that COVID-19 is real. So when people will tell you there's no COVID-19, it's because they have not seen it yet. But pray not to see it. Because in some people's cases, it will come up like an ordinary cold. But in other people's cases, it can get very bad. I know how much money I spent because my own was out of the ordinary. They had to go out of the hospital to buy drugs, antiviral drugs that cost hundreds of thousands per dose. And so, if you don't want to take that risk of who will give you the loan, because who will give a loan to a dying man?
Yes.
Then please don't take the risk. People say they shouldn't be vaccinated. I'm a biochemist, and I can tell you that the mRNA vaccine is safe. Get vaccinated. If you get vaccinated and die in 2 years, I know better than somebody really get vaccinated and die in 2 days. So people say all the people that vaccinated will die in 2 years,
Yes.
and it's not true. You know, if you get vaccinated, after coming from that, I again got vaccinated. But as you can see, I also wear my mask. Apart from this, I have my own sanitizer in my pocket. So protect yourself, and God will take care of the rest. Thank you very much. So our first presenter is Professor ASICC-19. I first met him when I went for, I think, a second visit of my own, second visit of Humboldt. Yeah, I was at the Humboldt Foundation Fellowship in Germany. With his dear wife, who is almost like a sister. Okay, they live like brothers and sisters. So, ASICC-19 is a very active man. He's a professor of pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical microbiology in the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Currently, the vice chancellor of that university. His vector-based antiviral screening technique developed between 2003 and 2005 in Germany has significantly revolutionized high-throughput screening of anti-HIV compounds worldwide. He is known to have published over 300 papers. Before becoming the vice chancellor, he also served as a two-tenor deputy vice chancellor. It is my privilege to welcome to the podium Professor ASICC-19. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chairman and my very big brother, Professor Sandra Kaloni, the one I gave myself Morgan because I wanted to test whether you still remember the language that they used to harass us and embarrass us, many years ago. I want to thank sincerely the organizers of this very important stakeholders meeting. I thank the chairman of the board of NIPRIT, a very wonderful senior colleague. I thank the DG of NIPRIT. I just saw that my old chairman came down. I want to thank you. I want to thank sincerely all the organizers of this stakeholders meeting. Just like Professor Martin said, when he was inviting us, invited me in particular, I wanted to say no, but I remember that once you say no, he will harass you. So I started pleading with him to adjust it in a way that it would at least not very, at least convenient. Honestly, he will just give it to you softly, and then you don't come, you won't be able to face the problem for the next 1 month or two. So I struggled. Actually, today I was supposed to have a stakeholder meeting also in my university, which I organized. I've been organizing since was to start today and then tomorrow the climax. So I was telling him, I said, how are you going to manage it? And my chancellor, who is the Bongo George, also celebrating his 70th birthday on Saturday and Sunday. So I said, how am I going to tear myself? Ordinarily, I planned that after Sunday, I'll just move from here, move to Oka for the stakeholders meeting that we're having, some people that want to make some donations to us. But the man just left me say, well, this is juice, I'm giving you this. I said, okay, I have to shift something. So I want to thank him again for his very positive harassment. Otherwise, we will be engrossed in things that will not even sometimes contribute to the development of mankind. So this we are doing is capacity building in one way. And we hope that as the government agency also, we're going to put all of this together in a way that will help in the development of policy that will drive some of the things we are discussing. When I saw in the program that people like Professor Tomori that are going to speak, and I said, how did Martin manage this? Prof, I thank you again for having an opportunity of sharing the podium with you. Forgive me also for taking your places, go to the first speaker. Together with this man, I said, I need to do this around that. So I don't gather people. I've been trying to gather them for the past 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. Suddenly they say, this is not the tap. But somebody asked me yesterday, they said, hey, you went to the Chancellor Saturday and Sunday. Today is public holiday, you should come back. And I said, yes, I will come. But in case I don't make it, just fast forward, just slow the thing a bit. I'll be there on or before 12 tomorrow. So I'm so happy, I'm pleased to be here. And my topic of discussion is general. I'm trying to look at education in a pandemic era, lessons from the past, and looking ahead. I want to say categorically that the impact of COVID-19 on the educational sector is very powerful. In fact, if you want to evaluate in terms of impact, the only thing you can compare it with is the impact on the global economy itself, because you know what global come down in terms of economy. But again, even the global economy in itself is a control propelled. Education itself is controlled, propelled by the global economy. If the economy is shut down, education will affect one way or the other. So if we look at the impact on education, we cannot emphasize it. There's a UNESCO study of 2021, and they estimated that over 100 million school children will fall below the minimum proficiency level in reading. Why? Because they don't have access to education, they don't have access to teachers. So if you look at that impact alone, it's very scary that over 100 million of our school children will be below the proficiency level of reading because they didn't have teachers, schools were shut down, and instructional materials were not made available. And so if you just estimate this alone, you can just begin to say or understand that the impact of COVID on our educational sector, on education, is really very devastating. If you look at the impact on education, it's predictably, it varies from region to region and from level to level. If you are looking at the impact on people in the city, it's different from those in the rural dwelling environment. I remember that in my state, during the pandemic, we started a radio program, simple radio program to reach, school children. But I was shocked when I heard in some settings that some people didn't even have money in some part of it. They didn't even have money, to have and these days radios are not by the way that popular again. That they didn't have access to radio. So they expected that for them to even listen to the lessons and teachings that are going on, government or some person should distribute radio to them. And I said this is so they were not benefiting. The state government was organizing that already, but they were not benefiting. And some places they say TV, I say TV. How many people have lights to watch TV? People have lights to tell you there is no NEPA, even to watch TV. So that impact varies from geographical region to another, and from level to level. Primary education, secondary education, university education, very hard hit. As you look at those impacts, they there are things that one way or another we cannot quantify. So, as we want to evaluate the impact of COVID on the educational sector, we want to look at one or two things that I feel we can glean through and associate with, with the COVID and its effect. So there are one or two lessons that I think are very crucial. The first one is that COVID taught us all that there is a leveling effect, that nobody is the child. Before now, we used to pride ourselves. First world, say we are the first world, these are developing countries. But with COVID, every part, every segment, every part of the world came to a standstill. We now learned that we're indeed the same. That the best we can do is to become a brother's keeper. Because, coming to think of it, you say that you have the best hospitals, the best scientists, the best medication and everything. But those countries, like the United States of America, they were the worst hit. Without all their ventilators, we came to a point where they were even running short of ventilators. They were trying to borrow. I remember when the COVID something started initially, people were importing, even here in Nigeria, these face masks were wearing. China, it became a hot cake in China. China didn't have enough again. The price of face masks already went off. People were now doing business here. Gathering the ones who have this to send to export to China and other countries to sell. So it leveled everybody. Everybody knew that we were one that we must indeed take care of one another's need, not to live in isolated enclaves and assume that you are superior and I'm inferior. COVID didn't recognize whether you are superior. They didn't recognize that you are white or black. Yes, keep everybody across. Very important lesson that we must not forget. The second lesson that COVID taught us is the need to scale and to rank our priorities and values as a people. The preservation and sustenance of life, we learned, must take precedence over the pursuit of luxury and other establishment. What are some humans? And their services are important and somewhat interrelated in the whole. It is evident now, more than ever before, that medical services constitute the very first rung of social welfare, perhaps with food and nutrition as only irreversible partner in this category. And these occupations and services are bedrock of human preservation, sustenance, and productivity, not the amount of skyscrapers you do. No, health. Number one. And of course, as I looked at the budget for next year, and I said, the government is now coming, to the reality. They are quickly understanding after the first health. But before now, we didn't put any effort in trying to establish and sustain and build and develop our healthcare system. So COVID has taught us that we must set our priorities right. And so I said here that the budget figures can answer the question of whether we're getting the right or not. The hollowness in our health facilities was most conspicuously demonstrated by a near lack of ventilators and ICUs in all our public health facilities in the first months of the pandemic, forcing the country to almost start begging. We're almost begging. We're almost going to beg for nations to supply some of these things. So these are very serious lessons that we must not forget in a haste. Another lesson that we learned, and this is also very important, is that whatever you invest in yourself, whatever you can produce by yourself, is the one that is sustainable. Because COVID made us to know that you can't say you are a sovereign nation if you depend on vaccines, you depend on products, on drugs from other nations. What makes you sovereign? What makes you a sovereign nation? So it means we need to start looking inward to see how we can take care of our own needs by ourselves, so that whenever anything happens, we can run and take the necessary precautions. And I pray that whatever lessons we have learned, we are going to put them into practice. It's one thing is to learn, no. The other thing is to implement. My teacher told me several years ago that learning can be said to have taken place if there's a change in what? Behavior. Once there's no change in behavior, you have not learned anything. So we expect to see more drastic change in our behavior, in our pattern, so that we can really say that we have learned from what we have experienced. Now, no country is truly sovereign, I've said that before, until they begin to take care of their own personal needs. Now, narrow down to our educational system. In our educational system, a number of lessons have been taught by the pandemic. And the first one is that COVID-19 has taught us the need for stronger communities and for better community engagement policies. This is important because, universities are mandates, teaching, research, and community service. But we suddenly noticed that if in the university, if in our institutions, in our establishments, we maintain proper hygiene, we maintain social distancing, and we do all we need to do to keep ourselves protected, this will be tantamount to nothing if our immediate communities do not do the same. And so what we learn is that it's important to begin to engage in community services, community enlightenment, more than what you are doing within yourself. Because ultimately, what happens to you as an institution will depend on how the communities are. Because now, people come in and out of those communities to apply. So we must not say leave them on their own. No. Institutions must begin to be engaged actively in community enlightenment. Because ultimately, if one falls, the others will fall. If one is infected, the likelihood that others will be infected is very high. So that is a very important lesson. The other lesson is the need to manage our class height. Yes, NUC has over the years assigned admission quota to sizes, but I remember in many instances people used to hide or dodge, used to even quarrel with the NUC, about these sizes. But now we now see that whether we like it or not, if you must maintain social distance in your class, if you must be able to, maintain proper hygiene, we must maintain first class captain of our policy. Not something that will be forced on us to do. And this is very, very instructive. We as managers of institutions need to put this in our planning. And it's a lesson that is very hard. I remember when we were about resuming school. A lot of my colleagues were saying, how is this thing possible? How can you have a class of 1,000 people? You have a class of 500 students. How are you going to maintain social distancing there? But it comes to planning now. This is now the stage to begin to plan, knowing that as we go on in the future, things like this that will need us to maintain what kind of social distance we are going to arise. So it's a very important lesson that so classrooms are now built. Well, people say to build large classrooms, but why don't we start as the policy to be very strict on class size? And there are many things that can be done. One of the things you can do rotational teaching. What it means is that more investment will come from more teachers and they rotate. So everybody must come at the same time and do rotational teaching. Of course, there's the hybrid teaching that you can also do. You can teach, mixed mode teaching. But our class size is something we must take very seriously now, whether we like it or not. Another lesson is the need for better hygiene practice in the school environment. Before now, our educational facilities did not always lead the way in terms of sanitation and hygiene. And there were reports in the past which thought to even say that and it's even the present, if you go to some of the student projects, you see how terrible they are. But COVID is teaching us that what I like it is, our prof exhibited that, you came here, you had the sanitizer in your pocket. But we are going to go beyond that because As a pharmaceutical microbiologist, I know that if you keep on using this disinfectant, all the time, organism will go resistant. So we need to also go beyond that and develop what we call robust disinfectant policy. Disinfectant policies. So we'll be thinking about that. These are things for the future because we need to evaluate the impact of continual usage of this on even the survival of the microorganism. And that's why in well-developed climates, they have the policy. So you use this and you take after 2 weeks, use the other one, not just one and say that. Very important for our policymakers to think about with this happening. If you just evaluate the impact over the last 1 year, you begin to see. In fact, we started a study now to evaluate not just on viruses, because our hand sanitizers have effect on and microstomal flora in the body. So we're started a study to look at the impact over 1 year or so on microbial survival and development. And it's very important because it's going to help us to have a proper way of defining what kind of policy we are going to use. So the better hygiene is a very better hygienic practices are very instructive and instrumental in our development. I also want to ask that as we're looking at the hygiene, what people practice, it should not be something that is limited to only institutions. It should come as a form of education. What I mean by that is that people should be educated. Both, like I talk about community engagement, talk about students and the people. There's this for education that hand washing, like we did during Ebola, we think that people have learned this. But no, I went somewhere, just recently, I didn't want to mention the place because we know it. But I did saw that in that place, even enlightening people, they bring, when they want to wash their hands, they bring bowl of water to wash, and then another person will come and say, I nearly bolted. I said, you don't need to do that. They said, no, since there is soap in there. One person of them, and since there is soap inside the water, even if you use soap and soap, disease will fall inside the something. And this is the place. And there are likely people there in that place, not just. So you see that we need to keep on the issue of using running water and not mixing. We still need to get the message has not gone. So there's the need for education on that. Simple something as proper hand washing has a way of building, and preventing this. Another thing that we learn is the need to build stronger educational facilities at home. We need to know that what we do, what we develop ourselves, is more important than the one that we get from abroad. We need to develop that very strongly. Another lesson we learn is the need to depend on comparative advantage of the unavailability of physical learning to now interact. For instance, lecturers, people who are in Oxford or Harvard, can now teach our students who are here in Nigeria because of the need to deploy ICT, virtual learning. As a matter of fact, we have encouraged several of our staff in our university now. So the linkages you need to have before, we can now begin to have them. Someone in Harvard cannot just come here now. No, you can now, we have video conferencing facilities. They can use those facilities and teach our students. And even in supervision, it's no longer restricted to just the people who are around now. Somebody can stay abroad, can stay anywhere, so we can get the best brains and make the best out of this situation. Another important lesson is the building of trust. Trust, is what is causing the hype on the myth was this surrounding vaccine. That's why my promise to emphasize it again. Even my wife, it took me more than a many months to convince her to get the vaccination. So I told her, your husband is vaccinated, so you want me to die, you can't marry another man. You say you die in 2 years, so you grab your heart. So you are even very strongly. You are even lucky. People don't know when they will die. So but we need to really build trust. And that trust is affecting many of the things, products that are coming here. I was telling somebody that the products we have here, like what Nightfield has done, and I don't know, Nightfield has not done enough publicity. Maybe they need more, PR people to help them. I was really advocating for telling them what they have developed and what they have done. They said, no, I said, this one is better than whatever one is coming. I said, but people don't have trust in that come from Nigeria again. They only have trust when they say it's coming from America, abroad. So we need to build that trust. Now, how do we know that our government trusts us? It's when they begin to commit this thing to us. I think the government are doing that now somehow. They begin to give us these responsibilities, begin to call institutions to do these researches, to do these evaluations. We know that you trust in our ability. And I pray that that trust will be there. Government needs to trust us so that we can do the needful. Finally, I want to say that artificial intelligence is the way forward. If we, whether we like it or not, AI will take over. And we must begin to prepare the future of tomorrow's innovations, the future of tomorrow's inventions, the future of tomorrow's technology depends on AI. And we need to, that is part of the fourth industrial revolution. That's where we are right now. Nigeria needs to take its rightful place in that industrial revolution. And as we do that, we'll be better prepared for the future. Because when the future is going in the direction you are going the opposite one, that means you're not prepared for the future. But we need to start now. So that what happens to us, what happened to us during COVID will not happen to us. We will not be taken by surprise. When we have need for certain things, and they will say, no, we don't have facilities, we don't have the manpower. And thank God that Professor Tomo is here. And I'm sure that they are at the very forefront of discussions on production facility for indigenous vaccines. Even the ones that are producing, even the ones that are to give us the license to do that is a Herculean task. But our researchers, when they go abroad, they do marvelous things, wonderful things, and people like them. But here in the nation, no. So that enabling environment needs to be created. But let us learn from this pandemic that we need to now give more priority to the educational sector. We need to put more funding. We need to encourage people. We need to build trust. We need to trust my research. And we need to let people know that it's not just publishing that is the issue, but what is the outcome of the publication? Is it patentable? Is there any market value out of that publication? That's why collaboration with NIPID or institutional COVID-19 will be important to drive research, from just publication to, products, services and products that the nation will. That's how countries abroad have done. That's how they survive, and that's the way I think we need to go. Because of time, I want to stop here, and I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Somone, for that beautiful lecture. Once again, the chairman of NIPRID governing board, Dr. John Alfa, Vice Chancellor here present, Deputy Vice Chancellor here present, distinguished professors and distinguished colleagues. Good morning once again. Again, I have to thank Professor Media and his team for inviting me here, and especially that I will be the one to welcome my Oga, the one, our senior colleagues, not our colleagues, our senior colleagues called the Oracle, when it comes to the issue of virology. Professor Oyewale Tomori, fellow and past president of the Nigerian Academy of Science, fellow of National Academy of Medicine of USA. The rest, I'll not call them because there are too many. Like I said, the past president of the Nigerian Academy of Science with experience in virology. When we say experience, this is not ordinary experience. As you will have realized before now, or you will realize in a moment. He was at the University of Ibadan between 1971 and 1994. He later served as the pioneer vice chancellor of the Redeemers University from 2004 to 2011. By the way, you heard about all the first sequencing of this virus was done, or in Africa was done at the Redeemers University. That was the team he originally constituted, and now under the leadership of Professor Happy. From 1994 to 2004, he was the virologist for the World Health Organization, African region, establishing the African Regional Polio Laboratory Network. In 1981, he was recognized by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. I mean, there are some people who are here that were not born at that time, but he was already recognized by CDC. When they talk of infectious diseases, CDC is number one in the world. For contribution to Lassa fever research in 2002, he received the Nigerian National Order of Merit, the country's highest award for academic and intellectual attainment and national development. If you see NNOL, I think there's still fewer than 20 today, if not less than 10 in Nigeria. He has authored or co-authored 160 quality scientific publications. Professor Tomori, if you see his publications, you know what we are talking about publications, not let my people go publications. He has served and continues to serve on numerous advisory committees, including nationally, as the chair of Lassa Fever Steering Committee, National Laboratory Technical Working Group, Expert Working Group on Polio Eradication and Routine Immunization. As you know, they already said that polio is eliminated from Nigeria, down to his pioneering work in Nigeria. And internationally, WHO, this SAGE, WHO African Regional Polio Certification Committee, WHO group of experts on yellow fever disease, chairman WHO Yellow Fever Emergency Committee on International Health Regulations, GAVI board, vice chair of U.S. National Academy of Medicine, Global Health Risk Framework Commission, and World Bank Inter-Agency Working Group on Financing Preparedness and Response on COVID-19. He served as the laboratory planning and quality monitoring advisor to the WHO. Some of us were advisors to one university who charge to top heavens. We're talking about WHO, not WHO, World Health Organization. He served as the laboratory, to the WHO Agro Regional Director, and he is the chairman, Ministerial Expert Advisory Committee on COVID-19 Health Sector Response. This is the job we thought you could have been given much earlier, and probably somebody like me may not have experienced COVID-19 at all. He is an international member of the U.S. National Academy of Medicine and currently chair board of BioVaccine Nigeria Limited. The vice president made reference to this yesterday. He is a member of the Global Viral Project Leadership Board and senior fellow. So I can't call this one. Stewart Institute at the Bush School of Government and Public Service, Texas A&M University, member of the WHO Technical Advisory Group on COVID-19 vaccine composition, tax EO back. I think this was one of the most recent appointments by the WHO. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues, Chairman of Board, join me in welcoming Professor Oyewale Tomori de Oracle to the podium.
Again, I was telling somebody, in fact, just this morning, I was saying, no matter what lecture you give, I get a bit nervous. I mean, that's the truth. If kindergartens call me here for lecture, I'll get nervous. But then, once the first word comes out of the mouth, nervousness flies out of the If you are getting nervous at any time, don't worry. It's a normal human. And it's also evident that you are saying you are not infallible. Yes. It's only God. Amen. So thank you for all you read. It's God that made it possible. Yeah. I hope I can control this from there. Are you ready for me? Otherwise, I'll have to technical. Can you? Or I'll switch on. I don't know what I do. Let them do it from there. Let them do it from there. No way. I don't know. Yeah. Because half of the time when you are talking,
Is your sensor there? Your sensor.
yeah, I've got it here. I'm switching it on, but it's not going to work.
I thought the battery is okay.
Yeah, they said it was. They tried it.
Let me give you my honest.
Oh, I'm not good to reach. Maybe I should move it to. You're not even had it on. Can you just turn it on first? Maybe that one.
Yeah, maybe it's not close.
I'll put the first one on and I'll continue from there.
Thank you, sir. No worries. Okay, sit down. Thank you very much. Just sit down. So, again, let me welcome everyone. Before our program continues, let me use this opportunity to welcome our boss, the boss of the Institute of Nigeria. Here, because this morning, the DG asked me around 4:30 a.m. that is it true that Mazi came. I told him, why are you asking me? Why you prefer to fight early in the morning that you not just people question whether he came on? I said, but Mazi is not just my own organ, it's your organ. So now now both of us is the organize. So if the prof was there, as if he did not only just come, he sat there. When he came, he didn't go out except that he went to sleep. Otherwise, he sat from the beginning to the end of yesterday. Most of you who were around, you remember, he did not just stay. He even caused confusion. You remember he caused some confusion. It's not only for me. Why are you saying for me? Now me get this conference. He caused confusion even for DG now that she's listening to me now. You know, when something is virtual, don't just say the right thing. Otherwise, they just do viral like that. So she caused confusion for DG Nada. He caused confusion for everybody. You know, you left. He was going to cause confusion for yourself, but I told them you have gone for National Academy of Medicine's meeting. Then he always likes causing confusion for me. He caused me So our president is a jolly good fellow, actually. I love him, even though he knows that. When I was a member of his NEC, at NEC meeting, he will look at me like this and say, because when he discovered that everybody will agree on something, but only me will say, no, I don't agree. He will look at me and say, Professor, I respect your opinion, but you are wrong. Calm down. So, there were many things I did to get Mazi meeting at KSM meeting, and he refused to be angry. I wasn't happy that he refused to be angry, but I learned something. I learned that actually, if somebody wants to get you angry, agreeing to be angry or not is your own responsibility. You can decide not to. I learned that one big time from Mazi Sam of Harmon. I also introduced to us, present here, one of our employers, because the board of the institute is our employer. For those who don't know, let me tell you and hear from the mouth of those who know that if you work in a federal government institution that has a council, like all these university professors that have a council can there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The same way, all of us working in our council can us. So if there's any director is telling you that you cannot be tackled, it's only government that will attack you. Who is government? Thank you. This is them. So all these are our council people that all these Dr. Jonathan and you people know before. It's not the one again. So this our Dr. Nino, I'm calling him Baba. He stayed with us in Kevin throughout in developing the strategic plan for country. Now, dig down and say, I am here on behalf of God. You people, you are supposed to convert this our natural resources to good use for and speaking here so that people do it well. Baba, thank you, sir. So I welcome all of you again.
Remember to say that I talked to the board member.
Yes, sir. That's why I said so. But he's our board member, and that's the reason why he always insists that we should do things right anytime when it comes to sit there. So thank you. Are we ready? Okay. So if you are a
No, I don't want to.
yes. Okay. 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 The chairman has directed that we should take questions and comments on the first presentation. So where's the second man? David. Is David around? Is David around?
Yes, sir.
You don't know your name. You should be lucky that you are the only person I can know the name and I'm calling you always. So questions and comments, please. Yes, still make 3 hands as a hand.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have just one comment. The experience we had with COVID, pandemic preparedness has mostly been focused on health institutions, the NCDC, and building up resilience of our health team to respond to pandemic. But I was just wondering while I was back there, that how do you do pandemic preparedness in institutions, educational institutions? And one thought that just jumped to my mind was, okay, we have these basic courses that students take in their first years, like general studies and all that. So how do you teach people about this pandemic preparedness? The students in particular, because I think that's it's a concentration of our youthful population. So it's something I think we should think seriously about. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Please, anywhere you are and you want to talk, raise your hand. Microphone will come there. You don't need to come forward. We will beat you where you are. project you to the wall. You don't need to trek anywhere so that you don't start breathing fast or slow. Okay? Thank you. And if you are, so next page.
Thank you, Professor Charles. During your presentation.
Hold on. You say, please sit down. You say, some people. Where I come from, my village, they say if person die because of you, you decay because of the person. I mean, if person die because of you, you decay because of the person. I want to announce the presence in this hall. Effect, light, direct, and light. The presence of the current vice chancellor, Commander Polio University Sokoto, Professor Baby Flower. Please come. You will come here. You will come here, sir. You will come here. I know him very well. He does not like to be told anything nice about himself. He does not like to go to high table. He just
yes, sir.
This man, I went to his university. I was waiting for VC. Let me tell you people, I was waiting for VC to come for the program. Then I stood like this. VC drove and came and he came down. I was waiting for VC. He said, wait for that. They say he's the one that drove this. I said, what do you mean? He drove himself. They say, yeah, that's him. He drives himself. As you are seeing him now, he drives. You will never know that he's the vice chancellor. You don't know I have copied that thing from you. And you want to deceive me, you will speak here. Where come from? I was saying that this country does not lack the human capital to make things happen. You think I'm joking? Because I have gone around. Yes, you can continue now. You see, for making you sit down is good.
Thank you, Mr. Charles, for your presentation. So during your presentation, there's made mention of in your that you people over there committed a committee that reached out to the community and to create some kind of awareness to the society. Okay, my question, I have two questions. One is that, did you people put in place to kind of look at the long-term effects on on children? Because during the pandemic like this, it tends to happen that there is a kind of fear that is created among children, and one, keeping the children at home, apart from destabilizing their academic, their education, there is this, from a neuroscientist perspective, children, their brain tends to develop during this period. But during fear and depression, anxiety, it tends to alter the circuitry system of the brain. And these have a long-term consequences of developing schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. And there is a need to a kind of orient those children to put a program in place to make sure how to a kind of curtail or minimize this effect that has been caused in children. That is one aspect of it. And while you are presenting, you made mention that there are a lot of Nigerians outside the country that are doing perfectly well. And we are not doing anything that is of international standard. Is there any program on the ground that will bring those people back home, that will come and replicate what they are doing outside the country? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. My VC is not going to just calm down. My VC is not going to answer those questions yet, because he did not here.
Professor, yes, sir. Just calm down, sir. After the presentation, you know what the chairman had said earlier is that after the presentation, we take all the questions and respond. Then because we wanted to make sure that no time destroys the other one. So we have done what we should have done somewhere else. So we will continue with Professor Tomori's presentation. Please, let's have August's presentation now. We will continue. Oh yeah, let's have it. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So we will listen to him now. His time is starting now. Wait, Dr. Daraka. Dr. Daraka, don't continue with the other time. Oh. I'm not the one that told you. And please, before you tell him that his time is over, confirm with me. Don't come and tell him his time is over. If he box you, you are your own.
Can you control it from there? Apparently, this is no.
Yes.
Please control it from there. That's what I wanted to start before. Can you move it back to the first slide? Okay. So thank you very much. Sorry, when I talk about nervousness, I know what I'm talking about. There's always something that will happen, but then we always get over it. I'm supposed to be looking at developing R&D for pandemic. What lessons have we learned from this current COVID? Next slide. Okay, that's fantastic. This is examples of emerging and re-emerging diseases. You can see the world it's all over. Africa has its own share. Every other part of the world has their own share. Different kind of disease, either emerging or re-emerging. Next slide, please. Or is your own? That is not.
Just the pointer, sir.
Oh, okay.
Just the pointer.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. So this is in the last few years, the epidemics that have occurred from between 2000 and now. You can see that different kinds of epidemics have occurred from Ebola to this, and you can see the current style occurring at that point. So every year for the last 15 years, there's one epidemic or the other which have been coming. Next slide, please. So the prior to COVID-19, there was a consensus that the world was not prepared. And we knew that, not just us alone. The Global Preparedness Monitoring Team conducted something and said the world needs to establish, the system to control potential disasters. The preventive epidemic readiness also showed that we were not prepared, not just Nigeria or any other thing, every country. There's hardly any country. The Global Health Security Index, of which I'm a member of that, we found that there's no country that was prepared for any epidemic or pandemic. And every country had important gaps in difference, either to detect, to respond, to control. There was gap, even America. So everyone had. But that, like I always tell people, is not the reason why we should be rejoicing that America has a problem. But when America was going to the moon, you couldn't go to your village. They didn't talk to you. COVID spread, and this preparedness, this gap has led to the spread of COVID. Next slide, please. I'm trying to go to quickly since I've lost some time. Next slide. Yeah. So when COVID came, well, remember that proverbial elephant. He said somebody got the he said the elephant has the elephant. He said of the trunk, he said, oh, this is a tree. So all of us, from Bill Gates to all of us, nobody knew anything about COVID. We're all talking out of ignorance and but on some perceived history of Africa. So whether you were in that disease, all sorts of crazy things have come up because of what you saw. So even the so-called experts from China itself, they didn't know what they had. And so when everybody was predicting how it's going to happen in Africa, next slide, when was predicting what was going to happen in Africa, it is out of ignorance, absolute ignorance. But unfortunately for us, we take the ignorance of the experts as gospel truth, and we start quarreling over it. You remember when they first said HIV originated from Africa? We spent 4 years arguing with them, and then the thing spread in a place. We lost focus, and that's the same thing happening to us. Next slide. So when COVID then came, all the lockdown and restrictions, part of which my brother has mentioned, and the self-isolation and distancing and all that one, affected virtually everything we're doing. It had negative effect on social things, it had negative on the economy, it had negative effect on the education, like my brother said. And all of these businesses were closed, You see more information. Like all the business, the GDP of Nigeria. Next slide, please. 30 traders, everybody was involved. And you remember, during that lockdown, international and national sports events were cancelled.
Yeah.
Tokyo Olympic was moved by a year or two. Our famous computer village, I'm going to show you a picture of that one. The Guardian newspaper as of 23rd March 2020 said that we are over 100 billion of softwares of materials in terms of phones and things that should have arrived at our market wouldn't come in because there was no transportation from China. And then we also see that the computer-related business lost between 25 billion in terms of that figure. Next slide. We also saw that during the pandemic, for example, in Nigeria, the pandemic had effects on us. It's still having effects, and it will continue to have effects on us. There were job losses. A lot of people lost their job because the industry they were working with closed down, and therefore so there was no more job. Agriculture and food production, people couldn't get access to fertilizers and all that. So, we had loss in the kind of food. Food prices went up. And there was reduced production and marketing of agricultural products. All these are factors, but people couldn't move. Next slide. So there was industrial activities were reduced. We had no crude oil because people were not using oil anymore. If there was no transportation or anything, all our crude oil that was the lifeline of Nigeria, we were not selling anymore. So that affected everything. So the price dropped from 61 to less than 30 per barrel. We have to revise our budget several times by more than 300 billion naira. And then the combined effects of this reduction led to us going into recession. You remember, we went into recession in Nigeria. Next slide. Now, I'll tell you what happened with the Alaba market. This is normal Alaba market. They're just starting with this, is not even read the numbers. See Alaba market when we close down. You see that kind of impact that this thing had on us. Next slide. And now, yesterday we were talking about Nigeria starting with the 2 labs, Abi, and then gradually we build them up for the last thing. And we clapped about it. But the question was that Nigeria was not born this year. Nigeria was born as independent in 1960. How come we only had 2 labs for all these years? Next slide. These are the lessons we can learn. So look at that vehicle. What direction is it going? Just tell me if you know where that car is going. That was the way we control COVID-19. We didn't know where we were going. PTF was going in this direction. COVID state was going there. Sorry. So, went in one direction. So that was the kind of control we're having. So when you see that people next time, you know how Nigeria was controlling it. Next slide. And then these are the body. Even before COVID came, we had other bodies. Hesitancy of vaccine, which is something that came with it. Paregza for non-origin. Polio, now luckily we're out of polio. Pneumonia was there, rotavirus was there, measles was there. All those. This is the burden we place on our children of health, and see the vehicle we're going to use in carrying the children, to solve malaria problem with this thing. And that is the kind of situation. Next slide. So our national system are under severe burden of poor leadership. Look at that vehicle. How is it going to move? So salary of senators, constituency allowance, and all those things. Now we're dumping on the poor Nigeria. That's where we're going. Next slide. Each time I look at the situation in Nigeria, I see that box as my government. And I see that as the ordinary Nigeria.
Correct.
No matter what you're doing, the government is permanently after you to eat you up. That is the country we're in. I think I wanted to put this for us to let you know, because I don't know exactly what is happening. Unfortunately, I wish the vice president was here so that we can share our mind. He said he's going yesterday. Today I will have been my own to say my own. Next slide, please. So let's talk about research and development. It's the model of numerous innovations and out of the box thinking. People tell you, think out of the box. I said, don't even get to the box. Don't get in so that you won't be constrained by anything. You think freely. That's what happens with you with innovation. They think freely. They are not boxed in by any constraint. And when you were talking about those in diaspora, if they come back here, they will not succeed. That question you were raising, what are we going to do? Until we improve the environment at home. Until we improve the environment at home, you can bring the factory, whoever it is coming here, it will run the same problem. It's not the talent. We have talented people in this country. We have well-educated people in this country. We have people who can do what we need to do, but the environment is bringing all of us down.
Correct.
Yesterday, I was telling some of our colleagues that I had Utopia when I was growing up. I mean, Utopia is the best. But give me, I think I was telling our president that 39th child of a father, of a multigamous father, polygamous was too small, of a multigamous father, breeding us for his farm. A government came and introduced free education. In addition, compulsory education. If my father didn't send me to school, he would go to jail. So he preferred to send me to school. And I went to primary school in my village, went to government college in Delta without anybody following me. From Delta, I went to Zaria. That was the Utopia of Nigeria that I grew up in. And that's why I keep telling people, I owe this country more than I can never pay back. These are what we are telling our government to do. Give that Utopia for this younger generation, who are much smarter than my generation. If you give them 1/4 of the environment I have, we'll turn this country around.
That's true.
That's the message. So that's guarantee. Well, next slide before I go political. So development includes activities which are undertaken to innovate and to introduce new products and services. Often is the first stage of development. Without research, without innovation, your country cannot develop. And the first step you need to take for development is getting involved in research and on Nigeria, we take it as the last thing. It should be the first thing, but that's the first step they need to take to. So it is linked to innovation both in the corporate and in the government, so that the public and the private sectors are all involved in innovation. It's not just research in the university, it's research everywhere, they put on the field. Typically, this is not performed with the expectation of immediate profits. That's the message you need to do. Research and absolutely. It is not I get the money in tomorrow, get the low profit up front. You invest in it. The internet we are all using now. US Army put more than 25 million over a period of 25 years for the matter of it, before the internet became what it is. If they have said they want quick industry, see what they are making from internet today. See what they invested 25 or 30 years ago. That's what the difference between research and innovation. Once we begin to accept that it is not immediate, pay you upfront, then we will never do well with research and innovation in our country. Next slide. Okay, so it leads to what we call patents, copyrights, and trademark. That's what they are making money in. Now we're talking about the new vaccine that's coming in, and we're working with WTO to get the patent removed. How can they remove it? They put their money into it now. So why are you going to consume their own disease? That is their property, that is their reward, and they must make out of it. The goal is to take new products and services to the market and add that so that your national GDP will improve. And the socio-economic standards of your country will also come in. That's what it affects every aspect of life. So if you use substantive returns on investment, you know in Nigeria, ROI, what is the ROI? They say it's return on investment. In Nigeria, it's the reward of iniquity. Next slide. You see, next slide, that's why I wanted to control this with myself. Next slide. You can do from here. I can do it. God bless you. Oh, you have overdone it. So let's go back. Okay. So what are the sectors for research and development that we need to do intervention? The market for human vaccine and in vitro diagnostics, because of COVID, is a gigantic market. Billions are being spent every year on vaccines and the vaccine market. Look at the amount of money that is going on into vaccines. And unfortunately, again, it was 41 billion in 2018. It's going to 93 billion by 2026. Well, the sad part of it is that we will not be part of it. Look at the growth patterns in different parts of the world by region. And here you see United States, they are raising up the amount of money. Europe, you find somewhere there they put Middle East and the rest of us. So we're going to make some also, but most of it will come in the Middle East, not the Africa side of it. Latin America, everybody is making money out of research and investment. Now, Who uses vaccine most? Poor people like us. Why? The third world. See the vaccine, the level for the high income countries, their reduction for their requirement for vaccine is as stabilized. But for us, we're going to go. Why? Because we have an uncontrolled population. 9 million children are being born in this country every year. They will require vaccines. It's going to go to 10 million because we're not going to stop our population. And so if you are adding 10 million people to your population every year and they require vaccine, of course you have to consume the vaccine. And that's why the number has gone up for us in our own area. While this other the high income country. So they're producing the vaccine and you'll be consuming. So if we don't get involved in this, you can imagine what we are dead for the permanently related them. So coronavirus again alone is about 75 billion by the end of 2021. We are all consumers. All of these are the companies that are involved in production. None of them is in Africa. These are the upcoming countries that are getting involved. None of them is in Africa. We are consumers of whatever innovation that they have done with their own. Now, again, I'm just going quickly through to show you in diagnostics, the same story. These are the key players. Abbott, Siemens, Thermo Fisher, whatever. You will not go to see which company you have in Nigeria. Maybe Nipri should be joining this type of thing. That's the type of thing we're looking for.
Yes.
But so, sorry. Again, just show you the in-vitro diagnostic market by geography throughout the years. Africa is Middle East. They always mix us with Middle East and Africa. They don't think, because if they put that figure, it will not show in the graph. So again, these are things. And there are different areas where we can do this. Clinical laboratories in the hospitals, physicians and in other places. These are areas where you require all of this in vitro diagnosis. I'm going to put something. The market for in vitro diagnosis alone is about 17 billion by the end of the year 2020. And why did it happen? Let's quickly see what is happening. This is what is happening globally in vitro in the Americas, in the East and Middle East, that's us. And then this is Asia. And you can see that many manufacturers and distributors are all in the US. The US accounts for 15 to 38% of the global market. The use of IVD has improved in us because we are the market for them. But Asia is even doing better than us. But they are the ones that are, also developing their own thing. Now, what have we done? Sorry. I think I moved too fast. Yeah, I think I moved. Okay, so what have we done in our own? Is it that we are not able to do this thing? Forgive me, when you don't know how to use machine, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, so there are different regulations that are required for vaccines and things. And these are different countries in Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Nigeria is there. We are actually doing well in some. So like the Vice President said, in many areas we're doing well. No doubt about that. In terms of do we have free market control? Are we evaluating what's the capacity? What is the post-marketing accounting? You have the NAFDAC leading talk yesterday about some of these things. So in a way, we have the foundation. The vaccine production it's not an easy thing. That's how complicated it is. But you don't have to get involved in all of it. You can come in at the place where you have the capacity for, and then gradually grow up to the point where you are needed. So new vaccines will keep coming. But let me quickly tell you why is Nigeria not making human vaccines. I wrote this out in one of the newspapers a few years ago, and I'll tell you some of the problems. You must have heard that the National Assembly and the National, they said there was a 10 billion. Yes. For local vaccine production. Yes. Let's not expose ourselves in public. So we leave it at that. The things that went on that, well, we don't have it right now, is the thing that make me ashamed of my country. Let me put it that way. So it is lack of belief in our own local research. These are the first point. Poor funding for vaccine research. There's no synergy between the academic, the industry, and the government agencies. Procurement and regulatory roadblocks. Our people in the ministry would like to procure from outside, not develop what we have in Nigeria. There's high dependency on foreign finance. Gavi, China, everybody is giving money to Nigeria to vaccinate our own children. When we were making the children, we didn't call you. Now you have them, you're making them come and take your So what are the challenges? There are many. As I said, on vaccine production in Nigeria, what the problem is inconsistent government policies. Each government comes in, another one comes in, PDP came in, APC came in, say what the PDP did was not good, they cancel everything. Same of them. So inconsistent policies. And that's what has led to production of vaccine in Nigeria started way back in the 1990s. And then, but when in 2005, we started. A Golu government came in, cancelled everything we did. Now, it took 10 more years before we got to the level where we can do it. So, what I call overriding of national interest by personal interest that ensures that Nigeria continues to import vaccines through translucent procurement process. The time bomb obstacles placed in the way of doing business, whereby getting approval becomes a forever obstacle race. Those are the kind of things that we're getting in our country. Dealing with, it's not only Nigeria, this is the guy who is now in charge of the chairman of the Institute. Okay, said, I had to fall at bureaucrat's feet to get any approval. But that has changed in India. We're just starting. So dealing with pretenders who loudly proclaim and carry the banner and flag of accountability and transparency, but they are going to milk the country dry.
Yes.
Using you as a conduit pipe to drain national resources into their filthy and leaking pockets.
Correct. Correct.
You have to be careful when they invite you to join some of these committees.
Correct.
You have to maintain your integrity, my friend. Otherwise, they suck you in, and all the names you've made for your life get soiled by one naira, which went in the wrong direction. Anyway, it's a warning to those of you. What are the way forward? Individuals who love this country, we must not relent, but continue to fight for the development of our country. You had the president say that yesterday. No matter how long it takes, you must not give up. Yeah. And you must not compromise. That's it. That's the thing. You must not keep quiet. A lot of us will keep quiet. Many people, I know they're for trouble. If you're not there for trouble, trouble will come and meet you. Oh. So we must not keep quiet in telling Nigerians why we are not making the deserved progress we should make. Now, the whole issue, sorry. I'm getting excited, isn't it? Okay, so, the whole issue of until we make what we call a holistic approach, rather than you in your own different silos, then we will never make the progress required. And therefore, the whole determinants of health, there are so many different areas. Health and healthcare, economic stability, your education. Thank you talk about education today. Neighborhood, your neighbor where you're living, all these are factors that determine what we do with I remember what we talked about in One Health. Yeah. We're not in the world alone. The environment includes animals, includes human beings, and includes the environment, the plants and all that. In fact, 77% or over 70% of all the diseases that come from the animals. And so when we have that close relationship, when we make new roads and go into the bush, we're invading the territory of the animals. When you do mass production of chicken and all that one, you are bringing those animals closer to you. And whatever virus they have, which is in their midst, will get into you. And that's how. So we need to begin to understand all this. Actually, One Health becomes where research and development must take note of. Because, as I said, we and animals are sharing the same environment. All the stakeholders, and there are different areas, not just scientists who are going to be involved. Everybody, the industrialists, the community itself, the way we live, all those kind of things are responsible for someone. So we need to develop strong health systems. And that's where research and development comes in. We need to improve the health indices which we need to work on as a country. Now, quickly, what are the impacts that we have when we have One Health? We have more information which we share together. We can plan better, so we can do better prevention of disease, both infectious and chronic, and we can develop new therapies. That's where research and development comes in. We develop new therapies to detect the disease on time, and to find therapies for them to detect the diagnostic, all those kind of things, so that even before the disease comes, our system will identify before it comes to the medicine. These are the areas where all of us need to cooperate together. It's not just agriculture, security, all these are areas where we need to begin to work together, not in silos. And that's one of the major problems. So what are the strategic systems that we have in Nigeria? You know that, for example, that the major health, where the vice president also said yesterday, there's now health sector reform coming up. It's not that we never had health sector reform in this country before. It is the implementation.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of health sector reform have come. So what they do with this one, we don't know. They are not going to bring anything different from what we had before. But are we going to implement? Is the next government, if it's not the APC, would they take that health sector reform and act on it? And when we look at the health sector reform in Nigeria, preparedness is not what it should be. There's poor coordination between different. NCDP will not talk with PSCD. Ministry of Agri will not talk with the NCDP. Insufficient funding, that's something we know. We know where the funding goes. They go to the inconsequential things, And then lack of commitment, and coordination with the different groups. Everybody wants in their own side to whatever budget they give to you, you want to make use of it. So when we look at it, there are too many prioritized, non-integrated activities. Everybody is doing his own thing without actually bringing them together. When the health people talk about 15% budget for health, you forget one thing. The money that goes to good water is going to help. Money that ensures that there's good road, there's no road accident, is going to help. We need to bring all that together instead of saying, I must get 50%. The others also get something that affects your health. If the water is not good, then you have, if the water is good, you have waterborne disease. If the environment is clear, you have cholera. These are issues that we need to begin to work together and say, no, education will get 20, this one will get 30. By the time you add up, it's already more than 100. So let's move on. One area, many of us have complained about this vaccine they are bringing to us. They have not tested it in my country. They have not done it yet. And then what they need is clinical trials. Why are we not involved in clinical trials? South Africa is involved. And then you come around and complain that they say, the vaccines they are bringing, they are not being tested in Nigeria. Do you have vaccines to test them here?
I don't know.
Thank you, Jari. These are the issues. That we need to get ourselves and be able to do clinical trials. It is not that we don't have the people, it is just the environment will not get people to do clinical trials. And then the average Nigerian, when they're bringing something new, I don't want to be guinea pig. You remember? Then they test it there first, I will see whether it first works. But somebody is guinea pigging for you.
Oh.
So, my friend, so trials are needed to address the high burden of disease in our own country. So we must get involved in that. Look at the kind of trials that are going on. Even malaria, which is our own problem. They are doing, USA is doing more on malaria trials than we in Nigeria are doing, West Nigeria. We are here somewhere. Okay. USA that has no malaria is doing more than we're doing on clinical trials in malaria. Look at COVID vaccine. You see our own there. The world, in terms of all trials, let me just look at COVID vaccine. In zero for COVID vaccine, other countries, even that Ghana is doing better than us, Kenya, everybody, even Egypt, you can see the number of people who are working on COVID vaccine. And yet, we are the first person to say, I can't use that vaccine because that will be tested in Nigeria. Yet, we have the facilities. There are a large number of hospitals in this country where we can do clinical trials. They can serve as service point. They are highly skilled healthcare practitioners. There are regulatory bodies, NAFDAC, LREG, all those people. They are potential local funders, state fund and CBN. So why are we far behind? We're running clinical trials. These are the issues that we are not involved. These are the lessons I think we need to. I quickly go through because time is going. Issue of disease covenant. That's the same problem that we're having. Like I said, the sites are available for those who will get them. So let's look at economic development, which are some of the things. There's a very strong correlation between good health and your GDP. If you don't have health, your people are not working. This is what they call the pressing cost. Then your GDP remains the So government must not look at health as non-revenue yielding. That's the statement I always say. It doesn't yield revenue, so we're not going to put money into it. But health and disease is revenue destroyed.
That's correct.
One disease, all of the things you built up in the last 10 years can wipe it off. See COVID now, ordinary COVID. I don't call it ordinary. Go on, let's talk about it. When you take longevity of people and their education and invest in them, your country goes better. These are the issues. Healthier women are more likely to participate in formal labor market. Investment in women's health results in a switch from having many children towards having fewer children. I told you 9 million children every year in Nigeria. we're adding up the population.
At least we're doing better in something.
Thank you very much.
So we need that kind of population to look at it. How can we? You see, when Nigeria was said that we have not met the SDGs, it wasn't that we didn't build enough schools. We built modern schools, but we had more children who were born than those schools. And so when you do the calculation, we are still back to zero. That's the problem. So this is an area, but nobody wants to talk about population in Nigeria. It has religious connotation, it has political connotation, and because it's how you want to use my population so that I won't get the number of people that go to the assembly. That's all. We use population for politics. It is not, it should be population for development.
That's it.
Now, so medical tourism, all of you know about that. I don't know how many of you, even my president goes on medical tourism, so it's not even. So these are the countries that are making money out of medical tourism. Look at them. But no country. You won't see Nigeria flag there. No, we didn't pay that. So we are the ones that are going there. So underfunding on healthcare services, brain drain syndrome, lack of proper services. You cannot. Again, I'm just going to look at that. Look at some of the reasons for medical tourism. You see, you have lack of confidence in the healthcare sector by Nigeria. These are some of your hospitals. It's not that clear on there. These are people sitting out on the corridor inside the hospital when it should be on bed inside. That's one. This is not clear. This is a clinic in which the gutter is running in front of it. If you enter with one disease, you come out with 5 others. So these are also health indicators. Nigeria is there. You can see us. We are probably Ghana, Kenya, everybody beats us in issues of health indicators. So now research is very much. These are areas where we can invest in research, and it is critical for some of those things I mentioned. We need to invest in this to ensure the availability of the effective health solution to our problem. We need to meet the desired goal of global health through research and innovation. It has multiplier effect. That's research and development. It saves life, it saves cost, you lead to economic growth, you enhance global your national peace. There's emergency of new technologies for better healthcare, provision of solutions to existing and current problems, and then you develop tools that you can use to deal with future problems. They are all, as I said, we are all part of the stakeholders. We have a role to play. The community, the government, NGOs, philanthropy, and the academia. We are all part of the development. So government, quickly going through that. Government with funding, enactment of appropriate policy, and so on. These are the activities. The academia will have a role. We are training our people, doing research, what I call preemptive research, for optimal understanding of diseases and of that nature. The communities are critical partners in the clinical trials we're talking about, and they will provide them information. This vaccine assistance will require proper education for them. So let me quickly go through, because I know that time is going. Again, these are just to let you know what are the things that scientists and research. So what do we recommend? We have to give research and development the pride of place in our plans, in our policies, and in projects like this. We want directly to mitigate effects. It must be a purpose of our research and development. And then stakeholders, we must accelerate efforts. I mean, I'm told that the second, they're trying to bring up some, things about national research policy. Let me end up with one important thing. This was one of those things that we put in. There are people who have wealth without work. They have pleasure without conscience. There's knowledge without character. Commerce without morality. Science without humanity. Religion without sacrifice. And politics without principles. So, let me, before you clap, maybe you should read this one. It says the scientists amongst us who does science without humanity, or who acquires knowledge without character, is in the same class and has no moral ground to condemn the businessman engaged in commerce without morality, or the politician without principle, or the priest without sacrifice, because they are all enjoying wealth or fame without work and rolling in pleasure without conscience. They each contribute their quota to the underdevelopment of we need to get that done. I'm getting to the end. So Nigeria is endowed with abundant talents and natural resources. But despite this investment, over the years, with the plethora of policy documents and all that, we are yet to attain the desired product. And one of the major obstacles to attaining that one is because in the biomedical research, the lack of appropriate communication, coordination, collaboration among the relevant stakeholders. The concept of One Health is intended to look at that, so we all recognize where we are. By making research and development as the fulcrum of economic development, we all the trust fund and all that will begin to work together. When established, that is the establishment of the National Research and Development Fund, which we are talking about, we provide the impetus for improved healthcare delivery in the country. So, one happy, healthy for all of us. Make R&D as flexible. Can I try that? Sorry, I'm trying to get it sound. I'm not at that, but don't look at that. Sorry, this is the man is dancing. As research and development should be able to wipe tears on the face of our people and bring smiles to them. Research and development, when we do that, then we can then celebrate the technological advances of our country. If you are with us online, you are hereby welcome. You wish you were with us at Cross River, Anambra, Enugu, Edo, Ebonyi Halls at M2 floor at the Transport Hilton, Nigeria. So, I'd like to recognize the presence online of Professor Eka Braid, the President of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Thank you for being there, ma'am. I would like to also recognize the presence online of Dr. Samuel Egei of the University of Western Cape, South Africa. Sam, you are hereby recognized. So, Chairman, over to you again. Thank you. Thank you very much. I told you they call him the Oracle. I guess we were not disappointed. Because it takes Professor Tomori and be disappointed. Like I said, I thank the DG and Professor Meje and the management of NIPRI for the privilege of coming not only to listen to Professor Tomori, but also to be on the same podium with him. He was the president of the Nigerian Academy of Science when I was inducted as a fellow. I worked closely with him. You see me and him talking, you think we are age mates. That's to tell you how humble he is. A friend to people of all generations. The energy he assumes, I wonder if I have that level of energy. We pray that God will continue to keep you in good sound. In sound health and continuous
I will still say prosperity.
Yes, sir.
Because, yes, to be elected or appointed into the advisory committee of the WHO, how many years, more than how many decades after he retired officially, is something that everyone should look up to. And so we thank God that you are not, your body is not only strong, your brain is still very strong as well. Thank you, sir. The chairman of the NIPRI board, Dr. John Alfar, members of the board here present, the Director General, distinguished vice chancellors here present, distinguished professors, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on. We want to I think there are two more presenters. We want to take those presentations before we start the discussion. I hope our VP is not okay. So the next presenter is my good friend and brother, Professor Bilbis. Professor Lawal Suleiman Bilbis obtained a PhD in biological chemistry from the University of Essex, in 1992, and rose to become a professor of biochemistry in 2002 at Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto. Bilbis has, to his credit, over 100 research publications in journals across the globe. His main research focus is on oxidative stress and pathogenesis of traumatic brain injury, stroke, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. He has presented more than 70 research papers at conferences across the world. He has supervised 18 PhD theses and several MSc theses. He was a research fellow at the King Khalid Military Academy, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, between 1996 and 1998. Bilbis was on the Executive Council of the Nigerian Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology between 1995 and 2011. That is my immediate constituency. He was the national president of the society between 2007 and 2011. Currently, he is on the Executive Council of the Federation of the Federated African Societies of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. He is a fellow of Nigerian Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, Science Association of Nigeria, Solar Energy Society of Nigeria, and the African Scientific Institute. He was the head of the Department of Biochemistry and many other departmental positions at the university before he became Vice Chancellor of Usmanu Danfodio University. But before then, he was the pioneer Vice Chancellor of Federal University Brennan Kebbi. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming Professor Lawal Suleiman Bilbis, the Vice Chancellor of Usmanu Danfodio University.
As the chairman, who is my brother, my friend, Mr. Tawadi, don't believe whatever he did there. It's really tough. When you are invited to speak on pandemic or any viral disease, after Professor Tomori has said that, you know, I'm trouble. He's our guy on the top with us. When I say on top with us is, Professor Atawadi said, when you see him, you think like agent. Full of energy, much more energy than ourselves. When I found him a couple of months ago, when my university is organizing a symposium on resuscitating vaccine research in Nigeria. Rob said, don't worry, this, I'll get it. I'll put the research of economic. But it was a very good outing. I hope I'm not in my time because I'm not talking about my slide to be on top here before I start. So I will Professor Dawood's time now. So you see, the issue of coronavirus or any viral disease. When sometime in 2019, I was somewhere in New York when the Chinese virus started. With apology to Trump. When I came back into the country, February, I made some calls. And I said, this virus is no longer epidemic in China. It will soon be pandemic across the continent. I get us. If you come to Nigeria, if I am stuck to the virus, and say, where will you come into Nigeria from? I will pick Lagos. I need to pick Lagos. People begin to wonder why Lagos. Lagos has an experience with Ebola. Ebola was in Lagos. Lagos was able to contain the Ebola and the epidemic. They are well organized. We can see even the way they are responding to the present pandemic. Well organized. If it should come from Sokoto, the foreigner from Niger will come to Sokoto, spend a night there, take a flight to Abuja. And from Abuja, he flies to Lagos. It could be a different story. Even before you trust who is the person who brings in that infected that time. You probably think it's a normal flu. We start coughing, we go to our mosques and churches. And before you know it, we'll all be on our way to the mature. But God was having it. He still loves Nigeria. It comes from Lagos. I was in Lagos when it arrived there for a meeting. And I flew into Nigeria from New York to Austria to Dubai, then to Lagos. When I came to Lagos, the reception I received is better than the one I received from Austria. Well organized. And I was telling my friend, I say, I wish everyone would be like Lagos. To be serious and the way so, I quickly called my Director of Research, Innovation and Development that we should do a symposium. Let's tell the Nigerians that Corona is going to come to Nigeria. We should be ready when it arrives. We had a one-day symposium informing the nation. We titled it Imagine and Reimagine Viral Diseases, Story of Lassa fever and Coronavirus. The reason why we picked Lassa fever, 2-3 years ago, Lassa is a middle central Nigerian disease. Now, 30 states, it kills more than the corona. But we are waiting for somebody from New York to develop a vaccine for us. We are just somebody waiting for somebody from Washington. They give us money to do the research. But somebody from somewhere to save us from the disease that is threatening us, that kill us. After that symposium, I put a call to the DG and I said, my DG, let's get ready before it arrives. Even that week, it was a level of picture. Now, it is. God really loves Nigeria. If The mortality is the mortality you see in Europe
Yes.
and America. I don't think there will be anybody. We are just not ready for a common headache. If we have an outbreak of headache, we are going to be in trouble. Just simple headache. Have a lot of epidemic. Every year we have common outbreak of cholera. Up to now, we report cholera. It's an annual event because people are making money from that. Yes. That's why it's not going anywhere. People are passionate for our inner activity. What to us gloves, money, market availables for diagnostics, women are management. We are not there. Simply we are getting free money from the West. That money is just recycling money. They give us money, we buy from them. What is this? Nothing. They are recycling their money. And that's what I give us. At one time I was telling somebody in a meeting, I said, why can't we sit down and say we don't need any? We either wake up or we all die. That's all. Until we decide to do that, this country is not going anywhere. When any time one out to break, somebody will rush from New York and Washington and give us treatment and management. We want to kind of do things for us. When you have a child in the house, anytime he cries, you give him milk. When he grows, you give him candy. Grows again, you give him money. And you want that child to be strong. If I were him, I would not. You know, sorry. He bought him a house. He bought him a property. After 1 year, the boy was withdrawn. I called the mother, I said, sir, your son is being withdrawn. He said, what happened? I said, if I were him, I would not read. Why do I read? The vice chancellor at that time has George as official vehicle. The boy has tried. He has a house. Vice chancellor is moving from university house to vice chancellor house. When he finishes going back to his house in the university,